In the last module, we have explored the course list page. And now in this module, we are going to explore the course detail page. But before this, let me show you what we are going to achieve. So here we have our category page. And when we select any category from this list, then it will take us to the course list page. And there we can get the course according to the category that we have selected. And we have already implemented this functionality. Now on this page, when the user will select any code from this list, then we will navigate the user to the code detail page. And there he can see the details and can copy the code or share this code. So let me add a new content page inside the pages folder. And I'm going to name it code detail page. Alright, here we go. Now in the page models folder, we are going to add a class and name it code detail page model. Alright, so far we have done nothing new here. We have just added the page and the page model class as well. Alright, now let me tell you that when the user will press this cell from the code list page, then we will navigate the user to the code detail page. So I have already explained you how to move the user from one page to another when he will select the list view cell, like we have done this list view selection already in the category page. Just revise the concept because we are going to reuse the code. Alright. Now in the code list page, just add a property by using the snippet prop full and hit tab. And this time I'm going to set the return type of this field and this property to code, because we want to send the code object when the user will select the list view from this codes list page. Alright, now let's set the name of this field to selected code. And similarly, let's set the property name to selected code. Alright, now we need to check the null condition here, and right after that, let's move the user to the code detail page with the selected code parameter. So here I'm going to use the core methods dot push page model. Then we need to pass that page model where we want to navigate. So in our case, we want to navigate to the code detail page model. So let's pass it here. And finally, let's pass this selected code here as a parameter. Alright, so we have still done nothing new here, because if I go to the category page model class, then here you can see that we have already done this selection stuff. The only difference is that on the category page model, we have used the category object, and here on the code list page model, we are going to use the code object. Alright. Now just go to the codes list page and just bind the selected item property of this list view with the selected code property that comes from this codes list page model class. Now, we need to go to the code detail page model. And there, first of all, let's inherit this class from fresh base page model and resolve the namespace. Right after that, let's override the fresh MVVM initialize method here. And inside this initialize method, we will receive the code object that we will send from the code list page model class. Alright, now we will know that we want to send the code object from code list page model, and in the code detail we have to receive that object. And there is no API involved on this code detail page. So here let's add a property of type code and name it code. Alright, now in this initialize method, let's assign this parameter to this code property. Also, it's throwing some object casting error. So let's solve this via object casting. Now let me run this application and let's add a breakpoint with this initialize method that's present on the code detail page. Alright, let's select the category and we are on the codes list page. And from this page, if we select any code, then the call hits the breakpoint, and you can see that we have got the following data here. Now, we need to display this data on the code detail page. So if I continue this execution, then you will see nothing here because we have not created the UI of this code detail page. So let me stop this execution. And then let's add the UI code for this code detail page. I have attached the UI code for this code detail page along with this video. So you just need to download the code and copy and paste it in the code detail page. Okay, I have the following code and I'm gonna copy this code and paste it inside this code detail page. I'm gonna show you what we are going to achieve on this code detail page. We are going to display the code author and description on this code detail page. You can also display some other properties if you want, like code title, code created date, etc. But let's keep it simple. Now the question is how to bind the code author and description on this code detail page. Let me go to the code detail page, and there you know that when we press any code from the codes list view page, then we got that code here in this initialize method that's present in the code detail page, and we have assigned that initialized data to this property. But this will get all the properties. Now in order to separate the properties in C#, we do this code, that is code property, and use the dot operator, and now we can pick the properties accordingly. But let me show you how we can do this thing in the XAML page. So let's copy this code property, and in the XAML of this code detail page, let's bind the label text property of this label with the following code, that is code property that comes from the code detail page. And as I told you, to get the properties from this code property in C#, we use code dot and pick the property. And similarly in XAML file, we will use the same thing, that is code dot the property which we want to bind. In our case, we want to bind two properties. The one is author and the other is description. So let's bind the author and the description in the XAML page like this. Now, let me run this application, and here we go. I'm gonna press this category and it will take me to the codes list page. And if I press some code from this list, then we are on the code detail page. Well, that's awesome. Now, let me add few things because we want that kind of design for this code detail page. But so far, we don't have these two images here inside our code detail page. So what I'm gonna do is, I will add the images in the Android and iOS resources folder. I have attached these images along with this video. So you just need to download these images and put it inside the iOS and Android resources folder. Alright. And once we're done with the Android, then we will add these images in the iOS resources folder. Now, here on the code detail page, we have already passed our image names. So if you have used this code and downloaded my images, then you don't need to do anything here. However, if you have used your own images with different names, then you need to pass the exact image names here in the code detail page. Alright, now let me run this application, and from this category page, let's go to the codes list page. Now when I go to the code detail page, then this time you can see that we have the following design. Let me tell you the functionality of these two controls. Well, when we press this button, then it will copy our code, and when we press this button, then it will allow us to share the code to some other applications like WhatsApp, etc. So in order to handle the clicked functionality, let's go to the code detail page model, and there I'm going to add a command property and name it copy code command. Then let's add another command, and this time I'm going to name it share code command. Let's add a constructor, and there let's initialize these two commands. First, I'm going to initialize this copy code command. We need to add a method that will be triggered when we use this copy code command. I'm going to name this method to copy code. Similarly, let's initialize the command, and that is share quote command, and make a method that is share quote. Now we need to bind these commands inside our code detail page. So let's copy this copy quote command, and then in the code detail page, let's add a command property with this image button and bind it with the following command. Once again, let's go to the code detail page model and then copy this share quote command, and right after that, in the code detail page, let's add a command property in this image button and bind it with the share quote command. Alright. Now let me run this application, and let's quickly go to this code detail page. And now we are on the code detail page. Now let's add a breakpoint with the copy quote and share quote method. And if we press this image, then you will see that the following breakpoint will be triggered. And if we press this control, then the other breakpoint will be triggered. Alright, now we have not added anything in these two methods. But at the end of this course, we will add the copy and share functionality. But first, we need to complete the application and understand the fresh MVVM concepts. Alright, so that's all from this module, and I will see you in the next section.